What's up, guys? Rob Kuhn here, and today I'm going to review the most colorful character in poker, a fan favorite for sure, the one, the only, Tony G. Without spoiling, let's get in the action.
That's going to be a good game.
Just for context on this game, this is the Cash Game Invitational Day 2. They are playing 1,000, 2,000 with a 2,000 ante. Yes, this is a cash game, not a tournament. Most players have anywhere from 200,000 to $1 million. There's been $1 million pots. This game's nuts. The Triton is nuts. The cash games are awesome. Of course, we see, the best of the best here. Phil Ivey, a lot of businessmen as well. Anyway, let's get in the action.
Tony G now of Lithuania.
What a spot for
very
Phil Ivey,
famous
by the way.
televised cash game moments.
Who was that?
On your bike.
On your bike being the one. Look it up if you don't know what Randy and I are talking about, and rejoice in that moment if you do, because it was an all-time classic.
Is this not a boomerang? Tens back in Tan Chuan's hand. Okay.
I just
really
realized
three
that.
betting.
With the blinds being 1,000, 2,000 with the $2,000 ante and no straddle being on, Tony G opens to 6,000 plus 2. Tan Xuan, 3 bets to 25,000. All of this is standard. The 3-bet sizing is good. The open is standard. And Tony G calling pre-flop. Everything is very standard. Let's take a flop.
25K ahead to the flop. 2 overcards to both of the pairs.
See how Tan Chuan navigates 2 overs once again. Although this is a 3-bet pot and he's the aggressor.
Firing 20,000. And by the way, Tony's peeling and taking a page out of Tan's.
We're going to have a lot of strategy going on this hand. On the King, Jack, Deuce, 2 hearts, Tan has a decision to make. Do you want to see bet pocket tens, especially when you do not have the heart? For the most part, yes. Why? Because this range hits you so well, right? Yes, of course, this is going to hit Tony G's range as well, but he's going to have a lot of, under pairs to this, such as he does, pocket sevens in this case, pocket threes, pocket fours, whatever. Tan is never going to have any of those hands. In fact, his range is going to be very dense around the king and the jack. He's going to have hands like ace-king, aces, king-queen suited, ace-jack suited, pocket jacks, obviously ace-queen, ace-10 suited, whatever. Regardless, his range hits Tony G's range much harder. Thus, you generally see bet pocket tens in this spot. Sometimes you see players go for the check, but for the most part, you see the standard bet here. And he decides to bet 20,000 into 54,000. Probably a little bit on the big side. You'd probably go a little bit smaller. And Tony G, out of fucking nowhere, goes for the call. Now, look, Tony G oftentimes plays tight, but sometimes he just puts up a stand. He just says, you know what, I don't fucking believe you. Sorry for the kids watching this. I'm sure there shouldn't be any because, gambling, you got to be over 18. So if I'm cussing, get over it, okay? Let's take a turn.
Look here.
Oh,
wow.
7 on the turn. Tony G.
Gin. And now Tony goes from hoping that Tan doesn't have a king or a jack to praying that he does. Oh. Thought Tan was going to reach out and touch something.
Reach out and touch me.
Briefly.
Is that how the song goes?
Look, these two have played a lot with each other. He probably figures Tony G in general is on the snugger side, and he's trying to take advantage of that with a double barrel. Trying to fold out a jack, a weak king, perhaps. To slow player to jam, that's the question. It kind of seemed like Tan Chuan is ready to put in the rest of the chips. The thing is, they played so much.
On the 7 of diamonds turns, Tony G hits the jackpot. It's not even the 7 of hearts either. So sick. So he has the 3rd nuts. Tan decides to bet 55,000 into 94,000, and this bet is what's going on here? Tan Xuan is a very aggressive player, but this bet doesn't accomplish anything. 1, we can have the best hand. 2, if we're getting called buy a bet. What's our plan on the river here? Are we going to check call? Are we going to bluff it off? Like, what's the whole plan here? Tony G realistically probably isn't going to call with worse unless he has ace-x of hearts. And then, like, if you bet and he shoves 95,000 more, the pot's already 204,000. What are we doing? What are we doing here, guys? Just check the turn. Tony G ends up betting, you fold, and then we carry on to the next hand. But now we're playing a 200K pot for seemingly no reason, and I have to do a review on it. I enjoy doing a review. I know you guys enjoy it as well. Just check here if you're tan. And as for Tony, you know, there's no other action here. I heard Randy Lou saying something about shoving. Shoving doesn't make any sense because you want to keep the weakest parts of your range in. So if you have a hand like King 10 suited or Jack 10 suited or Queen Jack suited or maybe even an ace high, like an ace queen hand that you just don't believe tan on, you're just going to call those hands. There's no reason to shove, right? So you have the second best hand you can realistically have. Tony G can definitely have pocket jacks. He never has pocket kings. He can have sevens and deuces, but so we have the second best hand we can possibly have here. Call, take a river, go on from there. Let's take a river.
Tony knows that Tantrum loves to bluff with really random cards.
This is a random hand to bluff with.
To the river we go. There's over 200,000 in there.
I don't know why I get this feeling that Tantrum is looking to empty the clip. Really just think, look, if you don't got King Jack, you're not going to call me or something like that. I don't know.
And he doesn't have Queen 10, but Ton does pump the brakes.
Wow.
And Tony just says all in.
All right, so the main hand he can pick off here is busted hearts. Some of these busted hearts are coupled with a pair, so they can actually show it down. For example, like 10-9 of hearts, 8-7 of hearts, they can maybe beat like an ace-10, ace-queen.
Okay, let me give you a little bit more analysis as I don't agree with Randy here one bit. On the 9 of diamonds river, Tan goes for the check, which, okay. I mean, we shouldn't have bet the turn. We should have checked the turn, but here we are. And Tony G, within half a second, goes for the shove. Whatever on his timing. You know, he's going to bounce us with bluffs. He does it in an upcoming video. We will see. But now all the action is on Tan. And we have to wonder what Tony G's range is, right? We're never putting him on pocket sevens. I mean, if my opponent here has sevens, congratulations. Like, whatever. It's annoying. Sometimes you see it. It happens. It's poker. You know, sometimes people put up a stand, but you can't put him on pocket sevens. Of course, he can have pocket jacks. He can have king jack suited. I think Tony G could have ace king as well. You know, they're deep enough that I don't think he has to 4-bet ace king. For value, he can have queen 10 suited. The one good thing about having pocket tens is, of course, we block 2 combos of queen 10 suited. Granted, Tony G's, you know, can still have the hearts and diamonds version, but there's not too many value hands in Tony G's range. But then again, Tony G has kind of tightened up a little bit in the past, or in the past few years, I would say, of doing the reviews with him. But still, Tony G's betting 95,000 and 204,000. Yes, we have black tens. Tony G can be betting hearts here. I don't agree with Randy Lou's analysis that he can have Jack X of hearts as a bluff or 9-10 of hearts as a bluff. You would just simply check those hands down because you beat hands like ace queen and ace 10 that were simply semi-bluffing. Absolutely zero reason to bluff those hands. Definitely check those back. But anyway, let's see what Tan does. Personally, I think you should fold.
My 2-barrel. So that really reduces the number of combinations of broken hearts that he can pick off here. Another question he needs to ask is, how thin does Tony G value shove? Is Tony G shoving king queen, or is he checking that one back?
You would think he shoves
the
king
more
queen,
hands that Tony's value shoving, the more he should fold his hand.
Surprised he's tanking this long, to be quite honest.
Slightly relevant that the 10s block a little
This
bit of
guy's
the
pretty
value,
wild.
which is queen 10, but I think there's more other hands that he has to worry about.
Lucky 7.
My
7
goodness.
from heaven.
He's the best.
Ton pays it off.
Tony G scoops the almost $400,000 pot by hitting the 7 from heaven. And what an absolute legend. You know, he's still out there getting after it. I love it. There's a lot more of him to come. Hopefully you guys are excited for it. And hopefully you guys like this video.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here.